Hello, welcome to January 12th, 2023. My name is Kurt, and this is my daily Good Life meditation video. This is an exercise that I do each and every morning shortly after waking up. It's now 4:42 a.m. Wow, a long time after waking up. I do this in order to remember my life objectives and principles, to see how I did applying these to the challenges and opportunities encountered in the last 24 hours, to recite and to think about my Good Life Creed, 7 objectives and 34 principles, and then to plan for the coming day. Let's begin. First, last night and yesterday. Last night slept good. Actually, only remember waking up just briefly, minutes practically, it seemed, before the alarm went off. Sat there and laid there in bed and listened to the waves crashing, the big waves crashing in the ocean. At the beach there, Huntington Beach, just a mile and a half away. It's amazing that you can hear them from this far. Other than that, yesterday was a very good and productive day. I got a lot of stuff done. Mainly a huge day in terms, maybe that's why I slept. I think that's probably why. Huge day in terms of a big event that's happening today, getting it all prepared and ready to go, and having all the ducks lined up in order. So, my goodness. If I can get through today successfully, and it's a long day today, I'll be working maybe until it's 9 p.m. If I can do this and pull off, pull off's hardly the word. Execute is the better word, because we're not trying to finagle our way through. We are executing our way through a very difficult project phase at work. If I can execute our way through today successfully, then I'll be in a much better position for a relaxing trip to Japan. And yesterday, all the items fell into place, and it seems like we're ready. Now today, we simply have to do it. I did have one challenge. I went to the beach, and I was met with giant waves. The surf report said they were only 10 feet, but they looked a lot bigger than that. There were 14 feet last weekend, and they looked bigger than that. So I know that the report can vary up and down the coast. So maybe I was getting more of a generic. I've noticed that it can vary like 4 feet just in a couple of miles up and down this coast. So maybe I was seeing a report. I should have dug it a little deeper, perhaps. But anyway, that was a true limit. I looked at that and I said, Kurt, you are not fit enough to go into that ocean like that. Stay out. And I did. And I'm glad I did. Okay, from there, what else? That's pretty much all there is to it for yesterday. Pretty vanilla day. Just a solid day of work, I think. That's hardly vanilla, but it is. Huh. Hold on just a second, please. All right. A little more slowly and carefully, Kurt, please. No need to rush. All right, let's do the good life. My 7 objectives are as follows. Number 1 is to be always ready to die. To have my life affairs, my relationships, and my life's work in a good, sound place so that I can die at any moment and have my affairs in order. Basically, that's all it is. The tricky part and the key one is the relationships, right? And I do. All 3 of those are in pretty good shape. Except for the life's work. I do have one more principle. The principle of script writing that I have not written. I need to write that and get it into the book. Number 2 is to make good and effective use of my time. To not let the day slip through my fingers without making good utilization of the time. Number 3 is to develop and maintain good and sound life principles and objectives, which I am doing by way of this exercise. Reciting the Good Life Creed and performing my retrospect and forecast of the last and the coming 24 hours is this very effort. Number 4 is to cultivate good emotional reactions, to become a person who can weather difficulty without going, off the handle. Number 5 is to perform good actions, just to do good things throughout the day. Number 6 is to recognize my true limits and my true opportunity, so I'm applying myself effectively to the tasks and opportunities that are within the scope of my reach, and troubling myself less with the things that are beyond reach. Or I wonder if I could say beyond reason. That applies too, huh? Yeah, not focus on things that are beyond reason. Jeez. What if I stumbled across now? I'm going to need to adjust the language a little bit for this particular objective, which is true limits and true opportunities. It's like I'm not going to reach for something that's further than my arm can go. And I'm not going to strain after something that is further than the scope of reason can reach. That might be an important discovery right now. This is the fruit of this effort, right? Got a dog on the ottoman here. Got to move around him. My last objective is to do just one thing at a time, and to do that thing slowly and deliberately and carefully. Okay, now my 34 principles. Number 1 is the principle of war. To always be fighting against what I think is true and what others propose to me I should believe, or what I encounter that I am tempted to onboard as belief. If it's beyond reason, then I won't even reach for it. That's an interesting idea. Although, what do you do about things that may be true that you just don't seem reasonable now? Think about that. The second principle is the principle of reason itself, and the sub-principles of honesty, objectivity, doubt, and humiliation. The approach that I take in grappling with the world and trying to ascertain truth. Number 3 is the homunculus, a simple name that I give to my consciousness. I utilize the concept of a consciousness rather than a soul because I don't believe I have a soul. So I'm not concerned with the long-term, I'm not concerned with the care and maintenance or the long-term existence of a soul, because I don't think such a thing exists. But I do have a consciousness in the here and now, and I do need to tend to that. Excuse me. When the dog got down. Now, I know you were doing good because I just let you out. You went outside, so I know that's okay. I know what he wants. He wants his asagohan. He knows the other word in English. Can't say it. But just a look in my eyes may have given him the clue. The next principle is called the anchor hold. It's the place where the homunculus lives, and it's stuck inside my body, and it will die with me. Come here. Then comes the principle of, come on. There we go. Papa's got to get through this first. Or do his job. This is part of my job. After the anchor hold comes purpose. My 3 purpose in life are: 1, to be a good husband and father; 2, to be a virtuous man, where virtue is described and defined as activities in the pursuit of the well-being of thinking creatures. And number 3 is to pursue the my own personal mission, which is the continued sharing of my story of going alone and the resulting Good Life Creed, which is in a chapter by the same name, The Good Life. Next is the atomic principle. Everything is made of bits and pieces, atoms and molecules. So to you and me, and we're going to fall to pieces as soon as we're dead. And we're going to die soon. 2, principle of nature. Everything has some particular nature, including you and me. And it's good to recognize what that is and live according to it, abide it. And then maturity. The pirate ride is next. The idea that free will is an illusion. And then maturity. And the sub-principles of wisdom and fortitude and integrity. Maturity is that state that we achieve when we have the experience of our past successes and failures, and we exercise the fortitude to do better. And then our lives enjoy a state of integrity where our results are alignment and match with our values. Then comes the social principle. We are social creatures, we need each other. And the sub-principles here are diplomacy, justice, conspiracy. Diplomacy is what we do to work out our differences. Justice is what we're setting up the good state to achieve. And conspiracy is what we link arms to do in a good way once we have that agreement. Then comes the principle of family. Is that right? I think I've got that out of order. And it won't be in the book. I can't check it out because that's an old copy. Diplomacy? No. The social principle? I think I'm messing up a little bit. I know the next one after that is public speaking. I really think that family goes somewhere. Maybe I'll stumble across it a little bit later. Anyway, public speaking. This principle suggests that we learn to listen and communicate well. The sub-principles here are best words, cultivating a good and deep and rich vocabulary. It helps us with our reading and with our communication. But we have to use that reading prudently so that we are, that speaking prudently so that we are not just trying to show off, but we are using effective words to help improve our eloquence, which is another sub-principle. Prudence itself is the sub-principle for this, where we are filtering our communication through our values, and then felicity, where we're adding just a touch of our emotions into it to flavor it. And I think that's it. Oh yeah, no, there's 2 negatives. Rumor and gossip. Don't engage in those. Okay, good. So public speaking. Wow, I feel like I'm really messed up. Hold on, let me go to the book. I know family's not in here, but maybe I can see where I'm faltering. So here in Going Alone, there's a chapter called The Good Life, and all the principles are laid out here, and the objectives too. Homunculus, blah, 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 maturity, public speaking. Pretty sure it was after the social principle I put the principle of family, which is a recommendation to create a family. It doesn't have to be the nuclear family. It can be any kind of family you want, ring or not. But, assemble your people. I like that. Okay, here we go now. Here's a couple of 5 principles that go together. Temperance, our ability to control our consumption of all things, and the sub-principles of suffering, simplicity, and apathy. We suffer when we tell ourselves no. A simple life is a temperate life, and apathy is the power that we can use to recognize what is outside of our scope of reach. I usually put this over by the objective of recognizing true limits, but it really belongs in both. The next principle is life will not go well, and it won't. Bad things are going to happen. Then the next principle is the horror show. Sometimes those bad things are incredibly terrible, deadly even. This is horror show level activities and events that happen in our lives. And then the next is that which must be borne, carried, we have to bear through our lives is the pain and suffering of when things go bad in the horror show. And then the Feast of Offal, which is when we get upset and spew it out into the world. And I try to avoid doing that. And when others are doing it around me, I try to avoid consuming it because it tends to poison us in a way. It doesn't mean we don't care. It just means that we keep our safe distance so we don't swallow it. And then when they calm down, we can offer them a tissue and a shoulder to cry on. I think I can go all right from here. The next principle is called easier said than done. Oh yeah, distraction. We distract ourselves all our lives with all the things that we can do other than facing down the next principle, the great indifference, the emptiness of the universe. And this includes our work and our activities, our hobbies, our family life, our church, our sports, politics, whatever it is. I got some dog hair. So distraction is what we do so we don't have to see that there's no God. That's basically what it boils down to, 2 principles there. Next comes 4 principles that go together. The restless man is the anxiousness that we feel in our youth to have some adventure in life. The path of wildness is the direction we go on when we strive to have that adventure. The great life adventure is the yield, what we gain from going on the path of wildness. And the risk of avoiding risk is the balancing act of trying to perform the adventure and have the stability. It's tough to do both without going over too far one way or the other. Including with me, I've gone too far with the adventure side and haven't built up enough stability in my life, but I think I'm finding a way to reconcile that in the last decade. Mainly through the pension scheme that my job provides me that will help to facilitate my retirement. Without that, I would have been in more dire straits. But things are going to work out as a result. Okay, so there's that. Okay, I think I got all that. Okay, next is this sin and damnation. The sins in my life are basically related to believing things that are true, being untrue, and spreading rumors and gossip. And enumerated, there are 8 of them. Falsity, being untrue; credulity, believing things too readily; faith, belief that's founded on belief; superstition, nonsense; dogma, belief based on tradition; authority, belief based on charisma and being impressed by someone who seems to know what they're talking about; rumors and gossip. The consequence of anything of those is damnation in the here and now. Complete oblivion is the next principle. When we die, that's the end of us. We'll be utterly wiped out. No reunion with our loved ones, no chance to reconcile any differences, and no final justice. Because we have no soul, there is no God, there is no afterlife, no forever, just what we have now. The season of philosophy is next. It's what happens when we have a moment in life when the Muse seems to speak to us. I'm in the midst of it right now, and it may be dying out a little bit. Having moved to Huntington Beach really woke the Muse in me, and for the last 3 or 4 months, it's really been speaking to me in volumes. But I feel it diminishing a little bit. I might need to mix things up a little bit. And that's okay. The season comes and the seasons go. Next is the principle called the script writing. It's the latest and newest principle. Script writing is a technique that I use to forecast the day so that I can set myself up to live better by not, if I just leave my mind open in the day to happen, my thoughts tend to wander towards the big negative things that can occur. And I dwell on those, and it increases my anxiety and my unease. Instead, I hijack that method through script writing, and I forecast for my own self how I think the day and the moments are going to go, including the immediate moments just ahead of me. Like I can script write a separate process, and my brain can script write the rest of this good life activity, meditation, seeing myself successfully getting through the last of these principles, laying out the coming day, and then closing successfully, rather than getting anxious about, well, maybe the dog's going to get restless and want his breakfast and bug me or whatever the case may be, or maybe I'll wake up my wife or whatever, you know, et cetera, right? It's taking control, and I can do that, like I said, short term, medium, and long term as well. I can script write. If I have a free moment, I can script write the coming trip with my wife to Japan, imagining how all things are going to work out good rather than imagining how things might be difficult. And I need to do a little more of that because I was imagining the difficult yesterday. Too much imagining of the difficult. There we go. The next principle, strategically placed, I put script writing here just in front of the next principle called the bullseye aim. The bullseye aim is a very simple principle that simply reminds me that, like throwing darts, even though I'm aiming for the bullseye, I'm usually going to miss by some greater or lesser degree. I'll get the bullseye once in a while, rarely, but it's a mistake to expect a bullseye every time. So I put that here immediately after script writing to remind myself that even though I'm writing the script for the immediate, near, medium, and long-term future, I should expect to only hit the mark so-so and infrequently, because that's the nature of the universe. After all, life will not go well. Uphill climb, that's the next principle. Life is an uphill climb, and I'm climbing. I try to finish today higher with a more comprehensive view of the universe than yesterday. Arena and utility is the next principle. Life is an arena where we have the opportunity to execute our principles in pursuit of our objectives over the course of our days. Nothing is enough. That's the second to last principle. A reminder to try to get by with less. And then finally, the principle of fun, my favorite in many ways, because this is where I have to remind myself to have a good time, to enjoy today, to enjoy the remembrance of yesterday, and to plan for the good times of tomorrow. Try to encourage myself to do that more often. It's a good use of time to relish the joy of life. All right, well, I made it through my good life. Now all I need to do now is prepare for the day. I'll finish this video, I'll upload it, I'll read my Bible, I'll feed the dogs, I'll let the dogs outside, and then I'll begin my day in earnest. I might be done a little bit early. I'll get everything all set up. I'll do a little bit of reading. I'm going to have a break between the hours of the day because I have to work some overtime, so I'll flex the time a little bit. I need to clear this with my boss. Take a 2-hour break in the middle of the afternoon. Go get my fourth COVID shot. Help get ready for our upcoming trip to Japan. And from there, do my day. Thanks for joining me. I wish you all the best. And be safe, but not too safe. And with that, my life is done. See you.